The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
We're back. My in-studio guest, the Governor of Guam, Eddie Baza Calvo. Governor, real quick, I know I wanted to touch on, of course, the Dewey and the John Fernandez situation, but the cost savings on the deportation of these prisoners at from DOC to their homelands. What is the cost savings in that?
Well, right now, with those 12 inmates that are now in the process of being removed, it's going to save us $750,000.
$750,000.
And it's interesting right now with those that have not been removed, because there's a federal detainer on them. And I want to thank the federal government for finally moving and working with us. So the federal government will be paying us over $100 a day to fund their incarceration until they're removed. So the federal government now is owning up to their responsibilities. But it's what again, the task also for us is we want to get out of a federal receivership. We want a prison where it can be an ideal setting for rehabilitation. And one way to do it is to alleviate the pressures. So we are going to bring that population down. Again, there's about a third of that prisoner that are non-citizens. We're going to bring that prison population down, alleviate the pressures, save money for the taxpayers of Guam, and then ultimately ensure that our island is a safer place to live.
Absolutely. Jumping to Department of Education and the superintendent situation, Governor, it seems to me now, I mean, we haven't read the report. I don't think the report has been made public, and I guess even their legal counsel, Gary Gumatalto, said he doesn't trust the board, I mean, that he works for at this point. But it seems to me now that they're trying to justify based on, oh, well, not only this, but because of this, because of this, because of this, from years back. And I'm going, really? If there, and correct me if I'm wrong, Governor, if there was I guess a non-adherence to Title IX, I think maybe the whole department was not in adherence to Title IX, not just a particular. I mean, of course, whoever's head, as a governor, I guess Title IX could fall upon you as well, But you're removed from the board at this point. But how can it be that the Title IX has always been there, non-adherence, and it's not just this administration or this superintendent, but previous superintendents?
I can summarize this. This is what I see here is the same thing that happened in 2010, 2014. Same cast of characters of villains, the old style of mudslinging politics. The thing is, what I've seen, starting from the top with Narissa and Underwood, and particularly the quiet acquiescence of Judy Wonpat, is that this is a hatchet job that has been bungled so badly. I was quoted earlier saying these look like the Keystone Cops of hatchet jobs. And again, you look at Ken Chargaloff, you're seeing the conversations that he's had with some of the folks that have moved forward with these accusations against John Fernandez, Gary Gumatalto, and I think Bernadette Mendel's involved in this thing. These are the same folks that are responsible for so much of the hatchet job politics of the past. Gary, he's suing his own boss. He wants to sue his own bosses. I think he better look at his employee because some of these leaks could only have come from Gary or his staffer. And at least that's what I've been hearing from very reliable sources in the media that are receiving these leaks. This has been bungled so badly, and it's a hatchet job where, again, it's akin to. Remember, I talked about how B.J. Cruz and Mike St-Nicholas overrode my veto on the hybrid retirement bill, and I said, what did I say? Ready, shoot, aim. Well, this was fire, ready, aim. They terminated John Fernandez without any due process. I hear now there's 5 charges for the bill of particulars. I hear Gary has acknowledged that those 5 areas that have been revealed by the media, those are indeed the 5 accusations that have been put in the bill of particulars. I wonder if he's going to sue himself now. But it's just unfortunate because whatever happens as this process moves forward, this process has started out with a termination, and now it is a process of filling in the blanks of this very sloppy termination that has occurred. I don't see any good coming out of this thing. You would hope that when these accusations came up, that the defendant, the one that was being accused, would have been able to defend himself. But the board, particularly with Gary now in charge, acted as judge, jury, and executioner. And now they are just filling in the blanks after the executions occurred. And unfortunately, that this was all part of a plan, I think, that has been set up by Narissa Underwood, and for her political purposes, and had nothing to do with the education of our children.
Now, Governor, in regards to this Title IX now, the violation or non-adherence to Title IX, because if this was the case, and if what I'm reading again, I'm understanding, okay, because every time I read, oh, there's something else added to it. But if I'm understanding then what I'm reading in regards to the genesis of this, where a student had said something was sent to her inappropriately, and if that was the case and that was brought to the attention of the principal at that particular school, now wouldn't that principal also have to adhere to Title IX, in which they they didn't? I mean, it took, I think, a few months to adhere to that. So how can again a Title IX adherence be applicable to only one person, and therefore losing funding because of non-adherence by one individual, where they are set, where you have the adherence is supposed to be there, but I guess you don't have the mechanism wasn't there, and it just recently did they appoint a Title IX coordinator.
It all seems so logical to us, and that's why as you see this unfold, it's bumbling. And right now it looks like they're just trying to cover their tracks. It seems everyone had been in communications. You look at Ken, you look at Rosie, particularly Ken. I'm talking about Rosie Tanatongo and Lucy Nicholas Boyd and Ken Chargaloff, and his relationship with that principal that seems to be the middle of everything, Mesa. It seems to be that these folks got together in a barbecue with a six-pack of beer and came up with this plan. And it's unfortunate that it was done. It was done so crudely, and unfortunately it had such impacts not only on John and Department of Education, but this whole community. I'm going to call them out on it. And as I think as things reveal themselves, and they get revealed with transparency, then you will see the cream rise to the top, and you'll see the curd also come out. And I see a lot of curd when it comes to these members of the board working with Senator Underwood and Speaker Wonpat, as well as some of these folks that were involved, like again, that principal who's been now promoted for such a great job to, I think what is he, assistant superintendent now?
Something, yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like Alice through the looking glass. Everything is not what it appears, and everything is reverse of what it should be. And it's unfortunate that this is the kind of politics that I'd seen 20 years ago, and I thought it had died off in the last election, but it sure is coming back, and it's coming back strong.
And what's baffling about that, Governor, again, you know, when you say people are innocent until proven guilty, and there are both sides to this situation here. There is also there's a young lady as well that's supposedly a witness to the situation where it didn't occur. Not saying that it did not occur, but I'm saying that at this point, not too much credence is given to the other side of that equation. It's like, again, there's two sides to the argument. One side is saying this, but there's a counter to that side as well.
And there's a tragedy, because I think there's a bunch of, my personal opinion, there's a bunch of young people that are being used as pawns here. You got Senator Underwood that wants to keep herself in office. I think you have Ken Chargaloff in that discussion. Senator Underwood talked to Ken about whether he was interested in being the superintendent. So you see that connection there with Ken Chargaloff. Obviously, Rosie Tanatongo has aspirations in the village of Malesu, but they all have these common goals and objectives. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the children. So with that in mind, you have some policymakers in the legislature that are looking towards preserving their power. You have some of the members of the board that are looking towards enhancing their power. And then what you have also is, unfortunately, a situation where what I saw, at least from my standpoint as a governor working with the Department of Education, the best superintendent this Department of Education's had in decades. Now, again, we have those 5 charges, those new charges that have come up. Whatever the result is, should he not have at least his day in court? He did not. If they were to follow that same process that they're doing now, then the first original charge that occurred, that started this whole thing, well, he should have been terminated then, and then start this hatchet job process. I think they bungled it the first time, they regrouped, and they tried to do it again, and this time they succeeded. But now they're trying to cover their tracks. But they've left a lot of fingerprints and a lot of footprints.
In this case, guilty and try to prove yourself innocent. Governor, I got to pay some bills. Be right back.
Okay.